Thank you, Luke. I'm Stephen Gamage, and I'm joined here with 3 pundits. If you'd just like to introduce yourself, guys. So, starting with
I'm Matthew.
I'm Ren.
I'm Nikhil.
Wicked. So, first question then. What do you guys think of the? What did you think of the debate as a whole? Just in general. Starting with you, Matthew.
Yeah, I thought it was a good debate. I thought they all had their chance to put their points across, and they did that fairly well. I thought could have maybe gone up a little bit more on their policies, but no, generally good debate.
What about you, Ren?
I thought it was quite engaging. A little bit. It wasn't very intense, which was nice. All of them had their own individual contributions and a bit different from each other. So yeah, I thought very interesting.
Less intense than the first debate.
Oh god, yeah, less definitely.
All right.
So that was nice.
And what about you, Nikhil?
Yeah, I think it was an interesting debate, but I think, maybe I would have liked the policies to be touched on in a little more detail. I think it's very, very difficult when there's 6 candidates and only about 20 minutes for the debate. So there was a lot of almost the policies were mentioned, and I think the main policy points did come across, but maybe a little bit more detail, maybe questioning between the candidates on some of the policies would maybe given us a bit more of an insight into what they think. But overall, I think it's a really difficult thing when there's 6 candidates, quite a short amount of time, and I still think that we managed to learn quite a lot, and we almost managed to pick up on what their main policies are and what they really want to focus on, so that was important.
Yeah, so talking about the policies then, there was one point I noticed came up quite a lot, and that was the whole theme and idea of inclusion. I felt like there was quite a lot of overlap between the candidates. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I know Ines was quite big on collaborating between societies. I think Hannah was as well. So yeah, it was difficult, I think, for them to stand out when they all seemed to have quite similar ideas on that. But I would say for me, Ines stood out because she really sort of hammered home that point in collaboration between societies.
Yeah, there is the whole point of inclusion and collaboration. Do you think the society isn't inclusive at the moment? A lot of them, I found I watched last year's and there was a lot of talk about it then, but for me, I think it's quite inclusive anyway.
I think I'd probably be inclined to agree with you. I do think overall the current system is fairly inclusive, and I think obviously we've got activities fair at the start of the year, which is really widely advertised. And also, not only widely advertised, a huge event, it takes over the entire Octagon, huge parts of the union as well, where societies get the opportunity. I think Harry in particular focused on this in his manifesto, but I think the talk about participation grants is probably more important than maybe how inclusive. I think most societies are very, very inclusive. Societies are almost run by committees made up of members ultimately, and they need members to come through the door. And I think participation grants that will allow people from all backgrounds to join societies are really important. I think most societies would, defend themselves as being very inclusive.
Did you find that, Matthew, when you first started here at Sheffield? Did you find the societies welcoming and inclusive in the SU as a whole?
Yeah, I think societies by their nature are inclusive. Probably. That's the whole point of a society. You join like-minded people doing activities that you like. So they are, I find it to be very inclusive. So I'm not quite sure whether there needs to be so much focus on inclusion. I don't know.
And what about collaboration then? Because I'm a language student. My societies collaborate quite often. I'm not sure how it is with other societies. What's the situation, Ren? Do they collaborate quite a lot? Or not?
I'm not very too sure with journalism. We do collaborate with other societies, or and if they do, this is what I mean. I think it'd be nice to actually know about it more. And I think collaboration is quite interesting because you're able to get also almost like a taster of different societies. So I'm not too sure about journalism.
I think obviously in terms of events, Dance Yourselves Off is the huge almost social which a lot of the societies sign up to and involve with, and there'll be a lot of people from a wide range of societies there. In terms of the collaboration, I liked the idea, particularly the idea, I think Hannah raised it, about the sharing of equipment. I think it was raised by a couple of people in the debate. And I think, again, that's a really, really good idea. It's something that would work really well in theory, but again, it's getting down to, I suppose, the nitty-gritty and practicalities of that. How do you know who's using the equipment when? Who almost gets to decide and almost how does it work? Obviously, all societies are going to have separate streams of income coming in, a separate almost pot of money, and if one society's spending their money on all this equipment, how do you make it fair that other societies use this, and how do you sort of times? But I did like the idea of maybe using the equipment. I think there was a mention of some of the performing arts societies, and I think things like that, for example, are really, really good because obviously they will have a lot of costumes, will have a lot of outfits, and it does make sense to try and use those, I guess, for multiple societies.
Save money wherever possible, so to put it into other things. Perfect. There was a candidate, Cecilia, who mentioned about giving back to society. So the SU working in the wider community. What do you guys think about that? Do you think it does it enough already? Do you think that is something that she's right to focus in on?
Yeah, I think that the union's got a policy generally, I think, of trying to sort of broaden the university's work with the community, and that's a good thing. But yeah, I would say a bit like Nikhil, you have to get into the nitty-gritty of how they're going to do it, because it's great to see that on the manifesto, but how you're actually going to make sure that you can work with the community and make sure how it will work in practice.
So overall then, guys, who was it who stood out for you the most during the debate?
Oh God, this is a hard one. I mean, I really liked some points that Inez was saying. I mean, she really stood out because, like, I just thought to myself, like, everything that that was said, I was like, yeah. She kind of like backed it up, like what would happen and how that would happen, and I think that's quite important because it's fair enough saying obviously, like, your manifesto, what policies, but it's just about how that's going to happen and how will it be able to be tackled as well.
What about you? Who might go on top to you, Matthew?
For me, it was Hannah, because I think participation in that is such an important part of it, and she included that in her manifesto, and she spoke very clearly about that during the debate. So for me, Hannah.
What you, Nikhil?
I think Luke in his closing speech made a couple of really good points. I think it's obviously not that any of the candidates don't, but they've all got really good pedigree, but particularly what Luke was saying about how closely he works with the union, and the fact that he's almost in a society that are doing 2 or 3 events a week, having rehearsals every day. It says how involved he is, but I think all candidates came across quite well. They've all obviously got quite a good understanding of the union and how it works, which is obviously a really vital part of the activities of the role.
Inez also spoke about volunteering. Do you guys think that's promoted enough at the moment? Do you think she's right to feature that in her manifesto?
Yeah, I think volunteering is such a great thing. I do volunteering myself, and I don't think of all the things that since I've come here have been promoted, I don't feel like volunteering has been promoted all that much. So yeah, for me, it's really interesting.
Ren?
Again, I agree. I mean, volunteering, if it's advertised, if it's in front of you,
Yeah.
if you do know about it, you're more inclined to just, be like, alright, okay, I'll write you up for it. And I think, it's very positive.
So it needs to be more out there, like in your face kind of thing.
Yeah, 100%. Because I think volunteering is such a lovely concept, and the more students get involved, I think the more it encourages other people to get involved as well. I remember volunteering for Oxfam and different charities, and it was great. However, I only knew about it from other people, or maybe seen just I don't know, flash of eye or something. But if it's there and if it's advertised, I'm pretty sure people will love to join.
What you Nikhil, how do you feel about that? I feel like it was a point that wasn't mentioned enough. I feel like it was really good of her to home in on that.
Absolutely. I think, as you say, volunteering is a really good opportunity for students to give back to the local community, get involved with different sort of fundraising, get involved with different sort of things. I really think that volunteering is something that maybe needs to be pushed a bit more. I think the universities and societies generally are really, really good at giving those opportunities, but I think sometimes it's almost something we've got to seek out rather than it being obviously there for you to do. And I think the more it's advertised, the more it's almost shown to students that it is something they can get involved with and do, I think the better it is. So I think currently it's something that there is a lot of opportunities available. It can be quite hard to always seek out those opportunities if you don't know where you're looking.
Yeah. One final question then. Do you think candidates on the whole explain how they're going to do things instead of just saying, I'm going to do this? Because at the end of the day, it'd be great if they could do all these things, but do you think enough of them will explain how?
For me, no, not really. But on the flip side of that, they had 20 minutes. There was 6 of them. That's really tricky to do in that short space of time. No, but that's probably the nature of the day.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think it was quite difficult for them to get into the details of exactly how they were going to fulfil some of these policies, but absolutely the nature of the debate itself makes that quite difficult to do, I think.
Very quickly, Ren?
Again, I 100% agree. I mean, the reason why Inez stood out is because about volunteering as well, backed it up with how, but then again, it's really hard for other candidates to say.
Maybe a longer debate, maybe the
100%.
answer. Right, I think that's all, guys. Thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you.
It's been very interesting listening to your opinions. And now we are going to go back over to Luke in the View Delhi with the International Officer debate.